Well, hello everyone. So, earlier today I saw Mortal Kombat II, the latest theatrical film adaptation of Mortal Kombat video game franchise, and the sequel to the 2021 installments, and it sees not only the return of many of the cast members, but also screenwriter Jamie Slater and director Simon McQuaid. And I could tell from that last one that he is certainly a big fan of the franchise, and this movie further compounds that. That's definitely a flawless victory for fans who wanted more, such as myself. So let's begin. The film picks up about with the events of a previous movie left off with a new opponent seeking to claim Earthrealm for her own with a new lead of Outworld. This time, it's none other than the most recognizable villain in the franchise, Shao Kahn. And this time, the actor portraying him definitely looks the part, has a background in these and mixed martial arts before, like a few of them transitioned to film. And with that in mind, and I can definitely tell. I think while I'm punching up his name, I am going to talk about how I feel about how the other films, like the '95 one, is actually among the better video game adaptations. That initial big wave, and I still, it's basically Enter the Dragon fantasy, more fantasy elements infused into it. It's okay. So, oh, Shao Kahn is played Martin Ford. I also, the film also has Hayley Gabrielle as Jade, and Adeline Rudolph as Kitana, which I had a feeling, given how her fans were in the last movie, so they're setting her up. I mean, we've also got Sindel, played by Anna Toon Win, apologies for mispronunciation, and this is definitely, as well as Baraka being played by character C.J. Bloomfield. I mean, that's just the ones that I knew were going to be in there. I'm on the newcomers, and some things will be a bit spoilery. But let's just say that some people who had Louis Tan's character from the last movie in their Deadpool definitely he made some bang if they were betting on that. Like the moment I saw like the acid pit come up, up as a fighting arena, it's like oh. Especially given how I have been knocked into that pit far too many times to count. But much like how the second of the original video games gave us more what we enjoyed by the first games, while they find other elements that needed it, the film very much follows suit. I also have other members of crew back, especially the editor, the DP, as well as Benjamin Wolf, which we met do the music, including a remix of the Techno Syndrome song I've had in rotation for decades now. This is especially true with how they handle Johnny Cage. I mean, they definitely hinted that even though, at his peak, he definitely had the ego he typically has, but he's become much more jaded as the years have gone by, doing fan conventions and to get drinking money, and it's outright stated, but he's heavily implied to be living out of his car as well. Hell, not even Vinci's co-creator Ed Boon, who's serving him his preferred cocktail can perk up his spirits. I mean, it's But as the film goes on, he definitely has like the fire inside lit again, and initially it's just to try and recapture his peak, but he definitely also rises to the occasion. He's definitely been my main in since early installments. Well, one of my mains, especially my favorite character. And naturally, when I heard Carl Urban was going to be playing him, that's what actually sold me. Personally, given how he definitely has been able with a level of charisma and also edge to various other IPs he's been a fan of, main. And even in small scale productions, he's had great range, so definitely enjoyed seeing his transition from jaded washout to the fighter in all in love. Of like the moment I saw him pull the sunglasses from his jacket, like it's on. And I also really enjoyed like the Uncaged Fury film within a film, which actually definitely shot like some of those other top blockbusters from the 80s and 90s, which played a large part in influencing his character. Yeah. While I'm not going to get into who's responsible for bringing the characters who died in the last movie back from the grave, people who have seen it will likely know who I'm talking about, and it is in keeping with canon to have Kung Lao come back as a revenant, and as well as, but I also find it also darkly humorous that Kano was just already so violent edge to begin with that there wasn't much left to corrupt in his soul, which makes sense given how in many continuities he's also part of gangs and at many points rise to be their leaders. And yes, definitely still lots of other knowledge send ups and profanity and pop culture references is and not just the ones that that Warner's has stake in, and which may or may not be someone who has and also may not be something that Paramount will have a stake in as well. We shall see. He he like he yeah, and given how Cage addresses him as his Raiden's Dumbledore, I guess that would be a John Lithgow now, since neither Harris nor Gambon are with us anymore. And with that aside, I'm still just dealing with that event as it comes. I'm probably still more interested in what they're doing with DC and Dune and Pikachu still. And I also definitely can say they also got a bit more money this time around, like how you see more locations and sets than happened in the last movie, many of which are game accurate, as with fatalities, including stage fatalities, these these which were indeed. I mean, you could simply knock someone in the pit in the first game, but the second one went all in on that idea, and they've been a series staple ever since. And I personally enjoyed that. I've seen estimates go around $68-70 million, about as high as $80 million. Obviously, not in the same amount of coin dropped on a typical production from DC, Marvel, or Lucasfilm. But still, you enough to see that money on the screen. And they do use CG for a lot of things like fire, here, and lightning, as well as some of the more gruesome fatalities. At least, but again, a lot of the actual hand-to-hand combat is done practically, the old-fashioned way. It definitely helps that a lot of the a cast actually does have a lot of trained martial artists in there, and those who do not know, they learned, and also had some pretty solid stunt people in there. Here, the double for Kitana was also the same person who was in the aforementioned Uncaged Fury movie. I definitely hate that. As for how it ranks among the other theatrical adaptations, I definitely can say that is much better a follow up to than Annihilation was, which has become something like classic kind of bad movie in the same vein as The Room or Samurai Cop nearly 30 years on where in hindsight, if it looked like the VFX in that one were not finished, that's technically because they weren't. I mean, at some point, someone at New Line might have realized, like, this movie is not going to have a future. We might as well just get this out there, which would explain why it's so many dodgy chroma key effects, X and Y. Their double for Cyrax look like a discount Cyberman, as I pointed out before. Or and at the very least, the way that they worked in the tournament, which was technically part of the last movie, but it didn't really come together until the final act. It was definitely much more from the start. I mean, hurt where there are 10 opponents enter, but only one on leaves, which if we never played the game since I have, let alone part of the more core parts of the FGC, hey, it's definitely simple and easy to understand, and I mean, where, and also even little details like some opponents when they run out of stamina, if you don't hit them, use vitality on them, just fall over, for which I especially like how even little details like that. That's, I mean, if I was asked what I want out of a Mortal Kombat sequel, this is the close to what I have in mind. I definitely and even though I'm not sure how much it'll do, given how the last movie did it solidly, like, both at home and theatrically, even factoring in coming out during the pandemic, I even found my double sided mask of Scorpion Sub Zero when I was cleaning up in this place. Is but Matt definitely exceeding eating its senior's take is a lofty, plausible goal. Well, it's currently on track to make more in its opening weekend than a previous installment did its entire run. And so, well, at minimum, about 40-ish million domestic, 80 million worldwide, hide in 3 days. And it of course generated interest in other versions, even to varying degrees of quality. There's a specific reason why I talked about Cage Match before I went and saw this. So, oh, I can definitely say, hey, that's even and as the discourse around this version is ongoing. I mean, and for I ticket price, Mortal Kombat 2 is an excellent sequel, as Shao Kahn himself might say. Hey, and I can definitely be open to a third one in the near future, especially after how long it took to actually get this one out. I mean, what with the pandemic, the strikes, and other deals. I'm also very open to who the Street Fighter reboot, who as well, but that's my for another day. Hey, this next movie I'll be talking about theatrically is, of course, Mandalorian Grogu. I did indeed try the blue cookie shake as well, but that's also beside the point. My final rating is a toasty 4.5 stars out of 5, 3.5 stars out of 4, and I will see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.